The room went quiet the moment the general walked in. Boots stopped scuffing against the polished floor. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the air felt tighter, heavier, as if a new rank had just entered the space. The insignia on his shoulders caught the overhead light as he moved with the confidence of someone who had never been questioned in his life. Major General Richard Hale had a reputation. Decades of command, a voice that could freeze a room, a temper that most people learned to avoid. He had come to observe a joint training evaluation. Nothing unusual, except today, his attention fixed on one person. She stood near the edge of the mat, quiet, hands clasped behind her back. Lieutenant Commander Ava Brooks. To most eyes, she didn't stand out. Average height, lean build, calm posture, no dramatic presence. If you didn't know better, you might have mistaken her for administrative staff instead of what she was. A SEAL. The general stopped a few feet from her and looked her up and down slowly, openly. There was no attempt to hide the judgment in his eyes. "This is her?" he asked, not bothering to lower his voice. Captain Daniel Moore stiffened. "Yes, sir. Hollis Schofield. This is the operator everyone's been talking about." Ava didn't move, didn't speak. Her eyes stayed forward. Hale shook his head. "She looks weak." The word landed harder than he probably intended. Or maybe exactly as he intended. A few officers exchanged uncomfortable glances. Someone cleared their throat. No one spoke up. Ava remained still. Hale stepped closer. "You," he said, pointing at her chest. "What's your role here?" "Evaluation participant, sir," Ava replied evenly. Her voice was calm, respectful, controlled. He laughed once, sharply. "Evaluation? You?" "Yes, sir." He circled her slowly, like a man inspecting faulty equipment. "You know, in my day, operators looked the part. Strong, intimidating. Not like this." Still, Ava said nothing. Captain Moore shifted. "Sir, with respect." Hale cut him off with a raised hand. "Relax, Captain. I'm just making an observation." He stopped in front of Ava again. "You really expect me to believe you belong here with elite operators?" "Yes, sir." The room held its breath. Hale's lips curled. "Never underestimate a SEAL," he said mockingly. "Is that what they tell you?" Ava met his eyes for the first time. "Yes, sir." He leaned in slightly. "And you believe it?" "Edo." That did it. Hale straightened, his tone turning sharp. "Prove it." A murmur rippled through the room. Captain Moore's head snapped up. "Sir, this isn't scheduled." Hale waved him off again. "I want a demonstration. If she's as capable as everyone claims, she shouldn't have a problem." The instructors hesitated. This wasn't protocol. This wasn't smart. But rank was rank. Ava took a breath. "Sir," she said carefully, "with respect, this is a training environment." "I don't think." Hale stepped closer, invading her space. "What's the matter?" "Afraid." Something changed then. Not in her posture. Not in her expression. "Eye in the air." "I'm not afraid, sir," Ava said. "But I don't want anyone hurt." That made him laugh again. Louder this time. "Hurt? You." He turned to the room. "You see this? This is what happens when standards slip." A few people looked away. Hale turned back to her, eyes hard. "I'll make it simple. 5 seconds. You try whatever you think you can do. I'll show you what real strength looks like." Ava was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. "Understood, sir." They cleared the mat reluctantly. No weapons. No gear. Just space. Hale rolled his shoulders, confidence radiating off him. "When I say go." Ava positioned herself naturally, feet shoulder-width apart, hands relaxed at her sides. To anyone watching closely, it was clear this wasn't feared. It was readiness. Go. Hale moved first, fast and aggressive, reaching to grab her arm and drive her backward. 5 seconds later, he was on the ground. It happened so quickly most people didn't register it in sequence. Ava stepped inside his reach instead of away from it. She redirected his momentum, twisted at the exact right angle, and took his balance without force. One hand controlled his wrist, the other guided his shoulder down. His weight did the rest. Hale hit the mat hard, the breath knocked out of him. Before anyone could react, Ava was already kneeling beside him, her knee pinning his upper arm, her grip firm but controlled. Not painful, just absolute. "Sir," she said calmly, "please don't move." The room froze. Hale struggled instinctively and immediately stopped. Pain flashed across his face. Not sharp pain. Something worse. Helplessness. He gasped. Get off, sir, Ava said again, her voice steady. You're going to dislocate your shoulder if you keep resisting. Silence. The general's face flushed. His breathing became shallow. The reality of the situation settled in, heavy and undeniable. 0.5 seconds. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Hale's voice broke. Enough. Ava released pressure instantly and stood, stepping back, hands visible. Medics rushed forward, but Hale waved them away as he was helped to sit up. His eyes were glassy, more from humiliation than pain, and one spoke. He looked up at Ava, really looked at her now. She stood at attention, calm, professional, respectful. I warned you, she said quietly. I didn't want to escalate. Hale swallowed hard. Captain Moore stepped forward. Sir, are you? Hale raised a hand. His voice was rough. I'm Ufine. He struggled to his feet, pride wounded far more than his body. He adjusted his uniform, straightened his posture, and looked around the room, and one met his gaze. Finally, his eyes returned to Ava. You're dismissed, he said, his tone controlled but strained. Yes, sir. As Ava turned and walked away, the room slowly exhaled, and no cheers. No whispers, just stunned respect. Later that evening, word had already spread. Not as gossip, but as a lesson. Never underestimate a SEAL, especially the quiet ones. And this was only the beginning. That if you want to hear what happened next, how that moment changed everything, make sure you're subscribed to Generals and Truth Stories. The silence didn't end when Ava left the mat. It followed her down the corridor like a shadow. Boots echoed against concrete as she walked, posture steady, breathing controlled. Inside, her pulse was elevated, but not from fear, from discipline. She replayed the movement once in her head, then let it go. The moment was over. That was how she survived this career. Act, assess, release. Behind her, the room slowly came back to life. General Hale sat on the bench longer than necessary, staring at the floor as a medic checked his shoulder. It wasn't dislocated. Ava had been right. He'd stopped just in time. The physical pain was manageable. The other pain wasn't. Captain Moore stood nearby, hands clasped, unsure whether to speak. He'd seen plenty of confrontations in his career, but never one that stripped authority so cleanly without shouting or spectacle. Hale finally stood. Clear the room, he said quietly. The officers complied without comment. Later that evening, Hale requested a private briefing. No odds, no observers, just him and the evaluation board. Ava wasn't there. She wasn't asked to be. That, too, was telling. The board reviewed footage from multiple angles. No audio commentary, just the raw exchange, the provocation, the space invasion, the controlled response. When a video ended, no one spoke for several seconds. Finally, one of the senior evaluators leaned back. Textbook restraint. Another nodded. She disengaged the moment compliance was achieved. A third added, no excessive force. No ego. Halidistenit. His jaw tightened, then relaxed. I was wrong, he said, and no one reacted. No one needed to. The next morning, Ava was called into Captain Moore's office. She stood at attention as he entered, her expression neutral, at ease. Moore said, Seat. She did. He studied her for a moment. You okay? Yes, sir. You didn't hesitate yesterday. No, sir. Why? Ava considered her answer carefully. Because hesitation would have made it worse. Moore nodded. That's what I thought. He slid a folder across the desk. Commands review. You're cleared of any misconduct. In fact, they're recommending you for expanded instructor authority. She absorbed that silently. There's more, he said. The general asked to speak with you. Ava looked up. Sir, privately, Moore added. Your choice. Ava didn't answer immediately. Then she nodded. I'll speak with him. The meeting took place that afternoon in a quiet conference room overlooking the training grounds. Hale was already there when Ava entered. He stood. Lieutenant Commander Brooks, he said. His voice was controlled. Not cold, not warm. General, she replied. They sat her day for a moment. Neither spoke. Then Hale exhaled slowly. I owe you an apology. Ava waited. I misjudged you, he continued. I let assumptions lead my behavior. That's on me. Ava nodded once. Thank you, sir. Hale met her eyes. You could have hurt me. Yes, sir. But you didn't. No, sir. Why? Because respect isn't proven by damage, Ava said calmly. It's proven by control. Hale studied her. Really studied her. You embarrass me. I didn't intend to, she said. I intended to stop the situation safely. A long pause. He nodded. Understood. The conversation ended there. No dramatic reconciliation. No speeches, just acknowledgement that in the weeks that followed, the atmosphere changed. Not because of rumors, but because of standards. Ava was asked to co-lead advanced drills. Her sessions filled quickly. Operators didn't come to challenge her. They came to learn. She didn't teach dominance. She taught efficiency, how to end situations early, how to read intent, how to walk away when walking away was smarter. One afternoon, a younger officer asked her, does it bother you being underestimated? Ava considered the question. It used to. What changed? I stopped needing approval from people who don't know me. The officer nodded, thoughtful. The story traveled, but it changed as it went. Some exaggerated, some softened it. Ava never corrected them, because the truth didn't need help. Months later, during another evaluation cycle, a new group stood on the mat. Nervous, curious, Ava watched from the edge, arms crossed, listening. One of them whispered, that's her. Another replied, the SEAL? Yeah. Ava stepped forward. You're here to train, she said, not to compare yourselves to me. They straightened instantly. Skill isn't about proving someone wrong, she continued. It's about proving yourself ready. The drill began. That night, Ava walked the perimeter alone, the sun dipping low, painting the base in amber light. She paused, breathing in the quiet. She hadn't joined to be admired. She'd joined to serve. And sometimes, service meant being underestimated. Until it didn't, because real strength didn't announce itself, that IT acted, that IT controlled. And it knew when to stop. That if stories like this matter to you, stories about discipline, respect, and strength without cruelty, make sure you're subscribed to Generals and Truth Stories. More powerful, realistic stories are coming.